Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome back to the podcast. Thank you so much for joining me, giving me your time and your attention. I will give you an incredible return on that investment that you're making with me today on this podcast. Guys, we're going through anxiety and literally the cure of it, okay? Step by step, exactly what it is and how you can overcome it and not let it control your life and hold your life back. Now, I want to ask a favor before we do. If you could just literally like the video, subscribe if you haven't, comment down below. It just helps share it with more people so I can help more people, impact more people, which is my purpose, which is my mission that I'm on. So if you can take the time to do that, I really do appreciate it. And if you get value from this, at the end of the video, share this with someone, okay? Help yourself, help another person. That's how we change the world, right? Let's rock and roll. So we're going to be going through anxiety. Now, this is something that has been maybe even my biggest pain point in my life growing up. I was a very anxious child. I was a very anxious young boy, and I struggled to communicate. I struggled to regulate emotions. I broke down in tears. I went to 4 different schools growing up, and I cried on my first day of school every single day at school. It was something I really, really struggled with. I've had family members on anxiety medications for over 10 years. I've had suicide in my family. I've had suicide attempts in my family. It's why I'm so passionate about mental and emotional health, as you can probably tell from my content if you consume my content consistently. So anxiety is something I'm very, very close to heart for me. So I want to explain to you the 3 types of anxiety, what they are, and how to cure all of them, okay? Step by step. I'm going to show you how to do that. So please pay attention, take some notes if you've got pen and paper, because this stuff is very practical and going to change your life if you decide to take a drink. You can drag a horse to water, can't make it drink. Please take a drink today. I'm dragging you to the water hole. It's over to you now. So firstly, the 3 types. The 3 types of anxiety. This is the way I categorize it. Hopefully it resonates with you and makes sense to you. First thing, there is natural anxiety. I'll go through all of them in detail. Secondly, there is triggered anxiety. And thirdly, there is unnatural anxiety. Okay, I'm going to go into detail to all 3 of them and how to cure them. So number 1 is natural anxiety. Now, what do I mean by that? Anxiety in itself is a very natural experience of being a human being. And that's something you've got to really come to terms with. There's a rule in life. Whatever you judge yourself for, you continue to do. If you judge yourself for being anxious or being depressed or being mean or being impatient or being whatever it may be, whatever you're judging yourself for, you attract more and do more of it. And it's actually the judgment that gives it power. Listen to what I just said. The judgment gives it power. So the judgment that you're putting on yourself, it's like coming up with a rule that if I feel anxious, I'm a bad person, I'm weak, I'm wrong, I'm a failure, I'm not good enough. So then whenever you feel anxiety, you then trigger all these negative thoughts and negative feelings because we always prove our beliefs right. You always prove your beliefs right. So if you believe anxiety is a bad thing, then when you experience it, which is very normal, and I'm going to get into it in more detail, you're then going to you've just set yourself up to fail. You've literally made rules of life which guarantee that you fail because anxiety is a normal feeling. And what do I mean by that? So you've got your autonomic nervous system, and there's 2 parts of it. There's the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. So what that means is, the parasympathetic is your rest and digest. It's when we're chilling out, you're eating, you're digesting food, and you're on like chill out zone, social engagement mode. And then there's the sympathetic nervous system. That's your fight or flight. That's stress. That's like, holy shit, there's a tiger walking past us when we were cavemen and women. I'm on fight or flight, look for a way to fight, hide, or survive, whatever you need to do. It allows us to evolve and survive for millions and millions and millions of years. And that is in our DNA. That is in our reptilian brain. It's not going away. The amygdala in our brain is going to activate that when it is actually needed. Now, there's unnatural anxiety, which I'll get to later. But, okay, you're driving your car right now. So you're in your car, you're driving. Hopefully you're not, or hopefully you're not watching the video if you're driving. You might be listening to me while you're driving. Say you were driving your car, and then someone takes the wrong turn, and they end up driving head on towards you, about to hit you. How the fuck do you think you're going to feel? You're going to kick into stress. Your sympathetic nervous system's going to activate. Everything's going to come online, and you're going to be looking for a way to survive. Beautiful. You want to feel like that in that moment. Imagine if you didn't. Imagine if you're like, oh, look, there's a car coming. Maybe I should do something about it. You probably already died about that time. So anxiety in that moment is a beautiful thing. You want it. You want everything to come online, and you want to have your senses sharpened, all your muscles to engage and look for a way to survive. You want your heart rate racing in that moment because it's a natural thing and it has benefits to it. So that's what I mean by natural anxiety. It's never going to not be there. But remember, if you've got judgment or you've come up with these bullshit rules that it's a bad thing and you judge yourself for it, then when you feel it naturally, because that's a part of being a human being, you've just set up all these rules for you to feel shit about yourself and beat yourself up. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, which is a term that gets thrown around the self-development world. So that's the first type. Natural anxiety. You're going to feel it. Beautiful. If a tiger walked into your room right now for whatever reason, you're going to feel anxious. You're either going to decide to fight that thing if you've got the ability to, or you're going to jump out your window to survive. It's meant to be. It's allowed us to be there. It's allowed us to survive and evolve for millions of years. It has its benefits to it. The second part is triggered anxiety. Now, a book that I would recommend, it's actually behind me if you guys are watching the video. It's called You're Not Broken by Dr. Sarah Woodhouse, and she talks about three things. There's trauma, traumatic reactions, and triggers. Now, if you get triggered, it's revealing a trauma that you haven't healed through or a wound that you haven't healed through. And then you've got traumatic reactions. Now, what do I mean by that? Or what is Sarah Woodhouse? She teaches it really well in this book. So a trauma, if you're not aware of it, a trauma is like a wound, or it's an experience or a perception you've gone through where there was high levels of threat and high levels of powerlessness. And it becomes a trauma. And another way to define trauma, it's unprocessed memories. I think that's a really awesome definition. Again, I've gotten it from that book. So if you went through, let's use a hypothetical situation. You're a young boy, a young girl, and you witnessed something that was very painful for you. You might have witnessed mum and dad get into a fight. You might have witnessed some pain. You might have been assaulted. You might have been abused, whatever it may be. So there's the trauma itself. Then the traumatic reaction is how do you react in response to the trauma? Now, some people get depressed. Some people turn to food. They binge eat. Some people smoke a cigarette. Some people watch TV. Some people disassociate. Some people drink alcohol. We all have our coping mechanisms. It's another term that you may have heard. We've got ways to deal with the trauma. Now, if your traumatic reaction is anxiety, so again, you witness mum and dad get into a big argument, a big fight, you might feel anxious. So you've got the trauma, your traumatic reaction is anxiety, and then now whenever you're triggered by it, you trigger the traumatic reaction. So that's why I say it's triggered anxiety. It's actually anchored into a trauma that you haven't healed through. I hope this is clicking. I hope this is making sense. Again, read the book, You're Not Broken, if you want to go into more detail about this. So trauma, traumatic reactions, triggers. So again, when you're triggered, you're seeing or perceiving something that's triggering that wound or trauma in you, which sets off the traumatic reaction. And again, it's like, say, you see something that reminds you of a trauma, you might go to alcohol, you might go to a cigarette, you might go to disassociation. That was my style. That's what I used to do. But some people get anxious. So you're getting triggered from a trauma is essentially the point I'm trying to get to. So let's rehash that. There's natural anxiety. It's meant to happen. You want it there. You want to survive. You want to get by, all that good stuff. Secondly, traumatic reactions. Triggered anxiety, which is a traumatic reaction. Now, how to cure that? That's a podcast in itself. You want to learn how to process that. You want to heal the wound so it stops getting triggered in you. Okay? I use the example, if you're watching the video, if I had a cut on my arm and I had a cat hair and I touched that cut, it's going to shock me. The cut is the analogy for the trauma for the wound. The cat hair is the trigger. And then the shock is the traumatic reaction. But what if you healed the cut? Then when you touch it, nothing happens anymore. But most people don't do the inner work. That's why I tell you to do, I fucking say it everywhere, do the inner work. Heal through your shit, let go, forgive, move on. Do the inner work. Most people don't. That's obviously what I do. If you're interested in doing the inner work, let me know. I've got an offer for you at the end of this video. If you want to do a free strategy call, I can help you with that stuff. So do the inner work. Heal through trauma is essentially the cure to that one, okay? Now, thirdly, this is the one that most people will probably experience. I call it unnatural anxiety. And this is when you're getting in your own head. It's when you're overthinking things, you're not breathing properly, you're not regulating your emotions, and you're just working yourself up into a state of anxiety, okay? So It might be you're at work, you're overwhelmed, you're stressed, you're hanging around the wrong people, you feel nervous, you feel whatever it is, and you're feeling anxious. The cure to that, there's actually a 4 or 5 step process I do for that. First things first is you want to be conscious, become conscious that you're emotionally becoming elated. You're emotionally starting to become more emotional, essentially. When is it easier to stop a snowball? When it first starts, right? When you're having a panic attack and you're breaking down into tears and you're having an anxiety attack, it's a lot harder to stop it then versus when it starts to first come on, right? So the key is become conscious sooner. Become more in tune with how you feel. You've got your vagus nerve that runs through your body. That really is something that people are not in tune to because they've been living in fight or flight. They've been living in their sympathetic nervous system their whole life. So they're not used to what their baseline feels like. What does neutral feel like to you? So then when you start to get out of neutral and you start to get a little bit overwhelmed, a little bit anxious, the heart rate start to race, the faster you become conscious of it, the easier it is to solve it. It's easier to stop the snowball while it's small. A term that I got told ages ago. Kill the monster while it's small before it's big enough to kill you. So try catch it as soon as you start to feel it. The second step, so step 1, become conscious. Step 2, regulate your emotions. This is so simple, most people don't do it. It's all about breath work. So you might have heard of box breathing. There's so many versions of breathing and breath work that can help with this. This is the simple formula I use. 5, 5, 5. You breathe in for 5 seconds. You hold it for 5 seconds. You breathe out for 5 seconds, 5 times through. Okay, so 5 sets of that. So what I do is I recommend aiming for your belly button or the bottom parts of your stomach. Because again, think about someone who's having a panic attack or an anxiety attack. They're doing very shallow, chest-heavy breathing. They're not breathing down deep into their diaphragm, into their belly, and really slowing everything down. So I'll do one breath for you right now. So you may not be able to see the video, but again, put your hand on your stomach, breathe in through your nose, and I want you to aim for the hand that's on the bottom of your stomach. So breathe in for 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you probably feel better just from doing 1. You do that 5 times through. That's stopping the snowball from getting worse and actually coming back to neutral. So become conscious. We've taken a big deep breath in, or a couple, five of them to come back to neutral. And then the third point is you want to see the situation as it is, not worse than it is. When we are drunk on emotions, when you're drunk on anxiety, drunk on stress, drunk on cortisol, you turn an anthill into a mountain. The sky is falling, for anyone that's seen Chicken Little. You think the world is falling apart because you're drunk on emotions. Where when you come back to neutral, you want to then reassess the situation. Okay, what was making me anxious? Is it that the sky is falling, the world is ending, we're going into another fucking COVID lockdown? Or is just someone's been mean to you? Or someone that you don't get along with has showed up? Or you're a bit nervous about starting a new job? Or whatever it may be. Just see the situation as it is, not worse than it is. The fourth step, give it an empowering meaning. There's a fantastic book, I recommend it all the time. It's called Man's Search for Meaning. I've got it on the screen right now for people watching the video. It's pretty much Viktor Frankl. He went through a concentration camp, World War II. His brother, father, mother, sister, and partner were all killed in a concentration camp. He went through that for 2 to 3 years of concentration camps. 1 piece of bread to eat for 3 days. People, when they drop dead, don't worry about it. Keep walking. You can't stop. Treated like pieces of shit, to be honest, for 2-3 years. Most people understand what happened in World War II. He comes out the other side of that with gratitude and inspiration to give back to the world. How does he do that? It's because, he obviously says in the book, is that we assign what things mean to us. The breakup that you've gone through can be the worst thing that's ever happened to you or the best thing that's ever happened to you. The difference is the meaning that we assign it. So we as human beings having the frontal lobe that we have that we can critically think is we have the ability to assign what things mean to us. We have that ability. So once you've regulated, you've come back to neutral, you've checked out the situation, you've seen it as it is, not worse than it is, you then want to assign an empowering meaning. Great, this is giving me an opportunity to grow. This is giving me an opportunity to communicate better. This is giving me an opportunity to cut off the wrong people out of my life. This is an opportunity for me to become a better man, a better business owner, a better woman, a better leader, whatever it is. Give it an empowering meaning. And then step 5, what are you going to do about it? You want to, this is actually, some people actually miss this last step, is they regulate, they come grateful, and they give it an empowering meaning, but then they don't do anything about it. You got to solve the problem, because if you don't, it's just going to trigger you again. It's just going to set you off again. So you want to make sure that you're pushing the situation forward. You're moving the blocks forward, okay? I'm going to rehash that. So 1, there is natural anxiety. It's going to happen. It's actually a good thing. You want to be anxious when a fucking car's about to hit you and you want to get out of the way and survive, okay? You want that to happen. Stop judging yourself for feeling it, because, again, it's part of being a human being. Secondly, there's triggered anxiety coming from trauma and wounds you haven't healed through. So do the inner work. I've actually done podcasts on that. If you just Google or search on YouTube, Lewis Huckstep Trauma, there should be some podcasts there. I forget the number or episodes they were. Thirdly, there are unnatural anxiety when you're getting in your own head, you're not regulating well, you're not putting empowering meanings to things. So those 5 steps within that was to be conscious that you're anxious or you're getting emotional, so you can stop the snowball while it's small. Secondly, regulate, do the breathing, 5 in, 5 hold, 5 out, 5 times through. You want to see the situation as it is, not worse than it is, because you were drunk on emotions before, but now you're neutral. Reassess the situation. Fourthly, you want to give it an empowering meaning. This is serving you. It's helping you grow. It's helping you become a better man, woman, leader, whatever it may be. And then 5th, what are you going to do about it? You want to obviously solve that situation, put out that fire, cut off that person, leave that relationship, whatever you need to do. It's obviously feedback for you. A good question in general that I encourage my clients to do is asking the question, what's this feedback for? If you're a business owner, you're running a business and you've got, say, you check your bank account and you've got a negative amount, or anyone, even non-business owners can check this. If you check your bank account and it's in the red, it's negative, or you've got very little amount of money in there, you might feel anxious. Holy shit, fuck, oh my God, haven't got money there. Great, what's that feedback for? It's feedback that you need to be better with your business. You need to be better with your finances. You need to go out and make some more money, go help some more people, do some more marketing, do some more sales. Maybe it's feedback to stop spending all your fucking money, stop buying shit that you don't need, to increase your income, to get a better job, to invest your money better, to learn financial intelligence. So a good question to ask yourself is, what is this feedback for? Just a little takeaway. Guys, that's the video. I hope you got value from this. If you haven't already, please do like the video. It does help me help more people, impact more people. Leave a comment down below, any feedback, any takeaways. And if you got value from this, please share this with a friend. Send this video to them. Say, hey, look, I thought you get some value from this. It just allows me, again, to help more people, which is my mission. If you're interested in doing some inner work, helping yourself, figuring out your purpose, your values, your mission, your vision, learn how to process. I have a process on how to process things, how to let go, how to heal from trauma, how to heal through your wounds, overcome anxiety, overcome depression, self-worth, judgment, ego, meditation, and help you plan your life. How do you create a life on your terms? I show you how to do that, how to start a business, how to build a business, how to commercialize your purpose. A really cool process I take you through. If you're interested in that and you're ready to grow and invest into yourself, go to there'll be a link below. It's a free strategy call with me. It's literally with me. It's not with anyone else. It's a one-on-one call with you and me for 30 minutes. It is free. It's my offer to you, but only do it if you're ready to grow. Only do it if you're ready to invest into yourself. Or if you're watching this on social media, if you go to the link in my profile, there'll be a strategy call there for you as well. Much love. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me on this video. Have a great fucking day, and I'll speak to you soon. See ya.